everybody, and welcome to BigCTV's Gaming Talk E3 edition. My name is Chris, aka Big C. So before we get started, I want to, of course, let you know about our schedule for E3. Of course, E3 is the biggest week in gaming. Tons of reveals, tons of new information about upcoming games. And of course, we're going to be there to talk about all of it. So this is going to be a recap of the EA press conference, which was held yesterday, about 4 o'clock Eastern Time. So I'm just going to share my thoughts on the conference, what was announced, what was shown. And I'm going to be doing one of these for every single major conference. I do not include the PC one. I don't care really. But I will be doing this for Bethesda as well as Microsoft, Ubisoft, and Sony. So, EA. I thought the presentation was interesting. They tried a lot of gimmicks with the whole, hey, we're going to simulcast host this in London and in Los Angeles. I thought that was interesting. I don't know how well it worked, and honestly, they spent more time transitioning than they probably should have. I would have just held the whole thing in Los Angeles, but, you know, it's not my call. I also thought it was kind of interesting that they were, of course, doing this from their own venue, not part of E3 itself. It's part of their EA Play event. So again, I understand they're trying to do something different. They're trying to do something kind of unique to them. I don't know if it worked, but the presentation isn't necessarily the most important part. Let's talk about what was presented. So, of course, not a whole lot that was unexpected, honestly. Like, pretty much everything that we thought was going to be presented was. So, we'll start off with Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 looks amazing. They did a lot of really cool stuff with Titanfall. They showed off the single-player campaign information, so it actually has like an interesting story, kind of like a bonding between the Titan and the pilot. They showed off some multiplayer tidbits, a whole bunch of new Titan abilities, a whole bunch of new pilot abilities. It looks like the Titanfall multiplayer that you love, but way more of it and a lot more interesting stuff. So, Titanfall 2 looks fantastic. Very, very excited to play. That's one of my most anticipated games of the fall. Mostly because I just adored the first Titanfall, and I cannot wait to play this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The other game that really impressed me was at the end of the conference, which was, of course, Battlefield 1. They showed a new trailer for that. It just looks all over the place. I mean, the fact that you can drive a tank, or, you know, ride a horse, or fly a biplane, or drive a Zeppelin, crash it into a town, and blow up the whole town. It looks really interesting, and I think that is going to make Battlefield 1 very, very unique in terms of other first-person shooters out there. It absolutely looks gorgeous, too, which, I mean, you would expect from the Frostbite engine. But definitely in terms of EA's 2016 lineup, those two are by far the highlights. So I was very impressed by what I saw of both Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. The rest of the conference, they did talk about Mass Effect. Not a lot, but they talked a little bit about Mass Effect. We did see some minor in-game nuggets of information. Again, nothing super interesting or revealing, but I mean, it's something, so hopefully we'll learn more. They did say we are going to learn more about Mass Effect in the fall. I thought that was very anticlimactic. They're like, hey, this is a teaser for another announcement coming later in the year. But, I mean, hey, it's something. At least we have a little bit more information to go off of about Mass Effect Andromeda. I honestly am beginning to think that this is a fall 2017 release, just because if it's supposed to come out in early 2017, they still don't have a whole lot to show on it, or at least that they're willing to show. Hopefully I'm wrong, but it just doesn't seem like they have a lot to talk about. One thing they did have a lot to talk about, probably too much to talk about, is FIFA 2017. Now, I know I'm not the target audience for FIFA. I could care less about soccer, or football, as the rest of the world calls it. And honestly, the majority of people at E3 don't care about FIFA. So I don't really know why EA constantly gives us this huge blowout reveal about FIFA when they should honestly just do a separate event. Sports games don't, like, they don't show well on E3 stages, and most people don't care about them. So like, if you're gonna do this event again, I would say do like a sport showcase, do an esport showcase, and then have your main stage E3 conference be about everything else. I think that would be a good way to put it. But like, I mean, FIFA looks okay. They're adding a story mode to it, which is kind of interesting. But I don't care. And I think that's the majority of people. They thought they spent way too long on FIFA. It was the longest they spent on any game, including Battlefield and Titanfall. And it's not for the audience that is watching those conferences or at E3. So next time, EA, maybe focus a little less on FIFA or do a separate event that focuses on FIFA and Madden. I mean, Madden got like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes of footage, whereas FIFA got like 15. So, just a thought. They did talk about Madden, like I mentioned, which, I mean, I get Madden every year, so Madden will be fine. The other major thing that they talked about was, well, they talked about two things that I thought were kind of interesting. First, they talked about this little indie game called Fee. It's a part of their new EA Originals program, which is kind of like ID at Xbox, where it focuses on indie developers. Apparently, Unravel was kind of the first game that focused on this, or that kind of came up with this idea. Sorry if I keep coughing, my voice is a little cracky today. It looks interesting. I think the visual style is gorgeous. I want to know more about it. It looks kind of like an interesting platformer. But I think it's cool that EA is actually willing to partner with little indie developers to make things like this. So I thought that was cool. And I want to see more of it. So hopefully more will come soon. And that was the only game that was not previously announced that was shown, well, sort of, at the EA conference. So that was the only thing that really generated much buzz besides the stuff we already knew about. And then there's Star Wars information. Now, they dedicated a decent-sized block to talk about all their upcoming Star Wars projects. And normally you would think, okay, that's great. What do you have to show? Not much. They basically just showed a giant list of developers who were working on Star Wars projects, which there were some that were kind of unexpected. I didn't know Criterion was actually working with DICE and Motive on Battlefront. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But they basically just showed this giant, like, montage of people working at computers talking about, oh, this is what we are expecting our Star Wars game to be like, and then showing concept art or like renders, like, not information. The main thing that we got out of it was Battlefront 2 is supposed to be a 2017 release. Visceral and Motive's third-person action game is supposed to come out in 2018, which is a long way away. We don't know much about the Respawn Star Wars game, except that they showed mocap and two guys with lightsabers. So that's kind of cool. I don't care about Galaxy of Heroes, and honestly don't care about the Old Republic, although I gather that it sounds like the Old Republic isn't the only thing they want to do at BioWare with Star Wars, but we'll see. Again, it was interesting, but it wasn't really showing much. And I thought that was kind of disappointing. And that's it. That's all they had for the EA Play conference. So overall, I was pretty disappointed with it. They didn't really surprise us much, except for Faye. The Star Wars stuff was underwhelming. Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 impressed. FIFA, they showed way too much of that people just don't care. And of course, Madden. So yeah, I don't think EA Play got E3 off to a strong start, but I mean, some of the games that are coming out look good, so I guess that's a plus. So yeah, those are my thoughts on EA Play. If you agree or just want to comment, leave a comment on this video below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, as well as check us out on Twitch. I'll be playing some games throughout the course of the week. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching E3 Gaming Talk, our recap of EA's press conference. Be sure to look for more recaps after conferences coming up. So yeah, thanks for watching.